So go ahead and find that comfortable, steady seat. And take a moment to just get your spine aligned, feel your sit bones, lengthen up through the crown of the head, relax the shoulders down the back. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. And just kind of start to settle in to your body. It's like you want to shrink your awareness down to the size of you so that you can be highly in tune with everything that you're feeling. And as you're checking in with all of the physical sensations, go ahead and begin some Ujjayi breathing. Notice any thoughts or emotions you might be experiencing, and also pay attention to what your energy feels like right now. And then bring your palms together in front of your heart. Take a moment and set an intention for your practice this morning, whatever that might be. Just be really clear about what you want and or need from your practice. And when you are clear, take another deep breath in through the nose. Exhale through your mouth. Relax your arms. Roll your shoulders back a couple of times. And go straight into downward facing dog. So I want you to really plant your palms. You're welcome to move a little bit here if you need to, but as soon as you're able, lengthen your spine, reach the hips up and back, sink the heels down. Feel into your shoulders, feel into your chest. Make sure that everything feels aligned and that you're lengthening here. We're going to take 3 more breaths here. Really press into your palms. Push the hips back. And then go ahead and walk your feet forward. Keep your knees bent. Let's take a few breaths in ragdoll. And then on your next inhale, reach the arms up, stretch up, 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 and exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach your arms up, spread your fingers, lift your chest, maybe even roll it back slightly. Hold this for a couple of breaths. Go ahead and interlace your fingers. Press your palms up towards the ceiling. Keep lifting the chest. Maybe reach the arms back. Maybe roll the chest back a little bit. And then a neat little trick to remind you of that helps the low back self-adjust while you're standing here with your legs straight. Imagine that your knees are squeezing together, but the upper thigh bones are separating. This will help the pelvis tilt just the right amount so that your low back does not compress. On your next exhale, go ahead and fold forward all the way down, standing forward bend. Inhale, look up halfway and lengthen. And then exhale back down. We're going to step back with the right foot. So we have a left foot forward lunge this morning. Just take a couple of breaths here. Drop your right knee down. We're going to raise the arms up and overhead, tilt the pelvis back, and let the hips start to move forward. And really take your time here this morning, making sure that the muscles at the base of your right buttock are contracting so that the front of the right hip will open. Make sure you're feeling this on the front of the right hip. And then when you get that, lift the rib cage, maybe even roll it back a little bit. If it feels okay, only if it feels okay, take your right hand to the mat and reach back with your left hand for your right foot or ankle. Now I want you to keep your tailbone tucked under, hips moving forward. You can pull on the right foot for a quad stretch if you like, but I want you to keep the emphasis on opening the front of your right hip. And then release your right foot if you've got it, and just extend your left leg. Flex the ankle and the toes. Just working into that left hamstring a little bit. And then from here, we're simply stepping straight back to our plank position. From your plank, this first time down, we're going to modify. Drop down knees, chest, and chin, and hold. While you're here, pull the shoulders down the back. Let the elbows hug the rib cage. And then just untuck your toes. Slide your forearms forward. Bring big toes to touch and heels to separate. And then pull with your forearms really strongly to create some space in the lumbar spine. We really want to lengthen out the low back. And then downward facing dog. Continuing to lengthen the low back, of course. Take a big step forward with your right foot. Hold your lunge for a couple of breaths here. And then we're going to drop the left knee down. Bring the arms up and overhead. And again, be very mindful of tilting the pelvis back strongly. In other words, tightening the muscles at the base of your left buttock as the hips move forward so that you truly feel this on the front of the left hip. Then if you want, you can lift the rib cage and roll it back a little bit. Really keep the emphasis on opening front of that left hip. You don't want to lose that sensation. You may stay here, or if it feels okay, left hand comes to the mat, right hand reaches back for your left foot or ankle. We keep the pelvis tilted and the hips moving forward. So again, if you want, you can pull on your foot and get more of a quad stretch, which is the front of the thigh. But the emphasis is for the front of that left hip. So keep your tailbone tucked. Keep looking for sensation in the front of your left hip. And then you can release your left foot, and we'll extend the right leg to say hello to the right hamstring. Once your leg is as straight as you can get it, don't forget to dorsiflex your foot. And then from here, we'll simply step forward to our standing forward. Inhale, reach the arms up and maybe back. And exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway. And exhale, back down. This time stepping back with the left leg. Just make sure your lunge feels correctly aligned, because if you are able, I'd like you to hold the high lunge, bringing arms up and overhead. Again, tilting the pelvis back and then allowing the pelvis to sink while you press back through your left heel. So again, emphasizing front of the left hip. That's where you want to feel this. And then hands down on either side of the right foot, gaze forward. Let's straighten that right leg as much as possible. A little bit deeper hamstring stretch. And then step back to plank. On your next exhale, lower down however you like. And then as you come into either cobra or upward facing dog, pause. Either one is fine. Elbows are bent and they're hugging in towards the rib cage, even if you're an up dog. Chest is pulling forward. Take 2 more breaths, really letting the heart move forward. And then downward facing dog to lengthen. And then take a big step forward with your left foot. Just kind of make sure that your lunge is aligned, because again, if you can, I'd love for you to bring your arms up and overhead. Tilt your pelvis back. Let the hips drop, push back through that right heel. We're trying to find sensation in the front of the right hip. Hands come down either side of the left foot, gaze forward, begin to straighten your left leg. Just lengthening out your left hamstring a little bit more. And then step forward to your standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms up and perhaps back. And exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, back down. We're going to step back with the left foot. Spin the heel flat. Adjust the feet as necessary. I'd like for you to come up into warrior one. So try and get your hips to rotate forward. Right knee bends, left heel is flat. Arms are up and overhead. And we're really strongly tilting the pelvis and sinking the hips, trying to get into sensation in the front of the left hip. From here, we're going to lift straight off into dancer. Just grab the outside edge of your left foot today with your left hand. Right arm stays extended overhead. Tuck the tailbone, lift the chest, pull the left leg behind you. If you can, put your left foot back down where you got it. Warrior one. And then swivel back onto your left toes. Sink the hips a little deeper if you can. Keep the chest lifted. Maybe roll the rib cage back a little more for a nice deep crescent lunge. And then bring the hands down, step back to plank. Flow through your vinyasa, being very mindful of keeping the heart open. in your cobra or upward facing dog. When you get to down dog, maximize spinal length, and then step your left foot forward. Right foot spins flat. Adjust the feet as necessary so that you can adjust the hips as necessary for Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. You want right leg straight, pelvis tilted. You're trying to sink the hips and get some sensation in the front of that right hip. And then we're going to lift straight off for dancer pose, Nattarajasana. Reach back with your right hand for your right foot. Make sure your pelvis tilts and press the leg back. If you can, you're going to put your right foot back down where you got it. Warrior 1. Swivel back onto the right toes. Tuck the tailbone really sharply. Sink the hips even more. And maybe roll the rib cage back for a nice deep crescent lunge. Hands come down, step back to plank. Take your vinyasa. From this downward facing dog, drop to your knees. We're going to start with a half heart opener. So you're going to bring your left forearm across the mat. Let your forehead rest on your left forearm. Reach your right arm very strongly forward with a perfectly straight elbow. Pull the tailbone back at the same time and let the right armpit begin to sink towards the mat. Don't bend your right elbow. You're actually trying to maintain continuous tension on the right side of your torso so that all around your right armpit, shoulder, and chest, you're stretching. Come on up and switch sides. Right forearm across the front of the mat, left arm reaches forward. Same thing applies. Very straight elbow. Tailbone's pulling back and that left armpit is sinking down towards the mat. Come on up from that and come up to kneeling. Toes can turn under if you like. This first time we're going to be doing half camel now, just like that. So I'm going to turn my toes under because I know my back needs that this morning. If you know your back is very flexible, you can keep your toes untucked. What I'd like you to do though is start with your hands at your hips, tilt your pelvis back and push the hips forward. And then go ahead and keep your left hand at your pelvis to begin with. And bring your right hand to your right heel if you can. If not, you can keep your right hand at the waist too. Then take that left arm up and back. Palm is up if you can. You're lifting the rib cage. You're remembering that little trick about squeezing knees together, thighs separating. And you're breathing. Come on up, both hands on the pelvis. Make sure it's tilted back and pushing forward. If you can, left hand to the left heel. It can stay at the pelvis if you need it to. Right arm reaches up and back, palm up. Hips are pushing forward. Rib cage is rolling back. You're breathing. And come on up from that. Bring your hands to the mat. Step back to plank position. Flow through a full vinyasa. Lengthen in your down dog. And then we're going to do the full expression of both of those poses now. So go ahead and drop to your knees. Full heart opener, Anahatasana. Thighs stay vertical. Now we're taking both arms very straight out in front of us. Either your forehead comes to the mat or your chest, but we don't bend the elbows. Come on up from that. All the way up to kneeling. And now we're going to try and move into full camel. Please pay attention to your body. If you need to keep your hands at your hips, absolutely fine. If you need toes turned under, fine. If you need to do half camel again, also fine. So here we go. Pelvis is tilting and pushing forward. Rib cage is lifting and rolling back if you can. You're reaching for your heels, but you're also welcome to keep your hands at your sacrum. Remember to breathe. Come all the way out of that. Bring your hands to the mat. Step back to plank. Take your full vinyasa. From this downward facing dog, after you've had a moment to really lengthen the spine, you may either walk or jump forward to your standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms up. And as you exhale, bring your palms together in front of your heart. So we're going to do a Dhanurasana dancer pose a second time, this time with an open palm grip. In other words, we're going to grab the big toe side of the foot. So we're going to stand on the right foot first, and this helps open up the chest a little bit. Your left hand is going to be palm up, open, thumb pointing behind you. You simply reach it back and put your left foot into your left hand. Extend your right arm up to the sky. Tuck your tailbone under, lift your chest, and start pushing your left leg back. Remember, this is really all about opening up the front side of your body, and then breathe. Come back up and release. Same thing, other side. Stand on the left foot, your right hand is palm up. It just reaches back, and you put your right foot into your right hand. Left arm extends up towards the ceiling. Tilt your pelvis back, lift your chest, and just begin to press your right foot back. Just trying to open up the front of your body. And then we come back up. Plant your right foot down, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach your arm up and back. Exhale, lengthen and fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway. And exhale, back down. You may either walk or jump back to plank and flow through a full vinyasa. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen in your downward facing dog. Now, from here, we're going to coming down to, and then transitioning onto our backs. Don't get too excited. We will definitely be doing a couple more vinyasas at least, but we're working with a full back bend today. So a lot of newer yogis call that wheel, but technically Chakrasana is a different pose. In yoga, Urdhva Dhanurasana means upward facing bow, and that's what a full back bend is. So you may or may not work into that today, but the steps prove very useful regardless. So from here, I'd like you to go ahead and come onto your back. Let your big toes touch and your heels be separated. We're going to move into bridge pose first. And I want you to just be very focused on the sensation at the front of the hips. So lift up through the pelvis. As the hips start to lift, really strongly tuck your tailbone under and keep lifting. And then lift the rib cage up as you go. Take a few breaths here. Pushing through the heels, pushing the pubic bone towards the ceiling, and lifting your rib cage very strongly towards your chin. Lower back down. Do not hug your knees, please. We're not done with the back bends. So now the next thing is going to be dependent upon whether or not your wrists can handle it. So if you have wrist issues, this may not work for you. And if that's the case, you'll repeat bridge pose. If your wrists are okay, we simply begin to work with the form only for a back bend. So fingertips would point at the shoulders. Now, when most people get to this position with the palms flat, the elbows splay out. It's a very bad idea. It's bad for your shoulders. So just lying here on your back, bring your elbows close to your head and keep them there. And here's what I'm going to ask you to try. Your backside is going to stay on the ground. And all you're going to do is keeping elbows squeezing towards each other, push into the floor to just lift the rib cage up. And you might want to make sure you're not on your hair. So you're lifting the rib cage off the ground, but the buns are down, and then lower back down. One more time, lift up into a bridge pose. Hips are up, rib cage is lifting. Lower down, and what I'd like for you to do is you can either roll over or rock up and step back. We're going to do a full vinyasa. I want you to keep your energy and blood flowing. So lengthening your spine, lengthening, lengthening, lengthening. And then one more time, you're coming onto your back. And these are your options. If you're still working into learning to do a full back bend, you can do back bend prep, which is to lift everything up, have your hands on the ground, and also still be on the crown of the head. You can do bridge if you have wrist issues and full back bend, Urdhva Dhanurasana, upward facing bow, if that's not an option. Or you can start working into full back bend and lift everything up. Regardless of what you're doing, I'd like for you to keep your big toes close towards each other and your heels separated. A lot of people lift up and their feet splay out, and it's this huge gripping in the glutes, which is not a good idea. All right, so those are your options. You may either attempt a full back bend, a back bend prep, or bridge pose. It's up to you. Up you go. Whatever you're in, begin to come out of it. Finally, finally. You may hug your knees in. It should feel pretty good at this point. Rock side to side. And then either roll over or rock yourself up to sitting so that you can move back into plank and take a vinyasa. After you've lengthened in your down dog, you can either walk or jump forward to your standing forward bend. And just pause here for an extra breath. This is a really nice counter pose to your back bend. Inhale, reach the arms up. And as you exhale, palms together in front of your heart. So now we're going to step the feet to the width of the mat. As much as you can, your feet should be pointing forward. We're just going to kind of use this yogic squat to traction the back. If your feet rotate out a little bit, that's okay, but try not to let them do it too much. So what we want to do is let the pelvis be really heavy and drop down and then lift the chest. So you're actually kind of self-tractioning here. Take a couple breaths. It's a nice way to lengthen the back after your upward facing bow. And come on back up to standing. Turn sideways, take a moderately wide step. Toes are rotated out slightly. Bend your knees, put your hands on your thighs, lift your chest. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, push into your hands, lift your chest. See if you can walk the hands higher up the thighs. Deep breath in. Push into the thighs as you exhale, lifting the chest. Maybe getting the hands all the way up to the crease of the thigh, elbows locked out, breathe in. Exhale, press against your thighs, lift your chest, straighten your legs, roll your shoulders back. One more traction move. Bend the knees again, hands on the thighs where you can press against the inside of them. On your next exhale, you're going to twist and look over your right shoulder. You can bend your right elbow, but that left hand should press against the inside of the left thigh. And then just switch sides. Press against the inside of your right thigh. Twist and look over your left shoulder. Come on back up to standing. Toe heel your feet in and return to the front of the mat. Feet together, palms together. Inhale, reach up. Reach back and then exhale and fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, back down. Step back to plank and take your final vinyasa for today's practice. Maybe linger in your upward facing dog or cobra. And definitely linger in your downward facing dog and lengthen the spine. When you're ready, you may walk or jump your feet forward. Have a seat with your legs extended. We'll just check in Dandasana. So find the sit bones. Bring the hands right behind your backside. Push into the floor for a straight spine. Activate your legs. Pull the head back a little bit so it's balancing on top of the spine. Take a moment and check in. How's your body feeling? How's the breath moving? Are you still tuned into it? Thoughts, emotions, energy. And then go ahead and raise your arms up overhead, and as you exhale, fold forward over both legs. And you may do this however you like. If you want to round down today, that's a nice counter pose to all of your arched back postures. But you're also welcome to lengthen if that's better for you. Coming up from that, we're going to keep the left leg straight and bring the right foot up, cross the left thigh with the right foot flat. Just coming into a nice seated twist to the right. Lift up through the spine for a straight spine. Right hand is behind you. You can keep the left hand hugging that right knee, or you may bring your left arm outside of the right knee. But keep chest lifted, shoulders relaxed, and rotate as far to the right as you can. Unwind yourself all the way back around. You're welcome to give both legs a wiggle if you need to, and then we'll keep the right leg straight. Bring your left foot across your right thigh. Left foot is flat. Lift up through the chest. Left hand is behind you. You may continue to just hug the left knee, or you can bring that right arm out of it, but you want a straight spine, relaxed shoulders, and you're rotating to the left. Unwind yourself, extend your left leg out, wiggle the legs, and then we're going to bring the soles of the feet together, but I want you to have them really far away from the groin. So don't pull your heels in. You actually want to have them quite far out. Balls of the feet should be touching though. And then clasp your ankles, lift your heart, and just slowly, gently begin to nestle your rib cage down between the thighs. Keep your chest lifting and pulling forward. And if you do so, you should feel this across your sacrum, which is a little bit below your low back. Now, if you want to, you're welcome to round down, which would be like taking your head towards your feet. If that feels good, feel free to do that. And then from here, we're simply going to roll onto the back, hug the knees in, rock side to side. And we're going to do that same move, except now we're going to do it on our back. So I want you to think of that long, narrow diamond. So while your feet are still in the air, soles of the feet are touching, but you're going to open them up. So they should be arm's length away from you. In other words, don't pull your heels towards your groin. Keep the soles of the feet together, but much farther away from your groin than you might think. So if you look up, your feet are probably over your throat or over your face, and that's perfect. Keep them together and then simply pull them straight down, not towards the groin, but towards the face. And then release, hug the knees in, rock side to side. We're going to do just three simple, relatively gentle abdominal contractions to help lengthen the low back. So this is not for the purpose of making your abs burn, it's just to make the low back lengthen. Your thighs are going to be vertical. So make sure that you're not pulling your knees towards your chest. Your knees should be stacked over the hips. Lower leg is simply relaxed. This is the easy one, you guys. Interlace your fingers behind your neck. Make sure it's your neck and not your head. We don't want to pull on the head. In fact, you can keep your gaze at the ceiling, and that'll help keep your neck uninvolved. Now, from here, you should feel that you have an arch in the back. And we don't want to take it out by pulling the knees towards us. We want to keep our knees stacked over the hips. We're going to use our abdominal muscles. So I want you to breathe in. And as you hold your breath, flatten your back by tilting the pelvis. And then exhale Crunching elbows towards thighs, pulling your navel towards the floor, emptying your lungs. Inhale down. Hold the breath. Flatten the back. Exhale, crunch up. Just one more. Inhale down. Hold your breath. Flatten your back by tilting the pelvis. Exhale, crunch. Elbows towards thighs. Breathe out, breathe out, breathe out. And release down, hugging your knees. So that just helps decompress the spine. So now as we move into our final spinal twist, everything should feel pretty loose and happy. You're going to keep your left knee hugged into your chest and extend your right leg all the way out into the ground. Just hug your left knee for a moment. That should feel pretty good in and of itself. Wind relieving pose is, of course, good for intestinal issues, but it's also really nice for releasing the low back. From here, we're just going to twist ourselves over to the right. Let the left arm open out to the left. Let the gaze be towards the left if that's okay with your neck. And just take a few breaths here, softening, because all of the hard stuff is over. One more breath. And come on back up, hugging the left knee into the chest, bringing the right knee to meet it, and then extending the left leg, keeping the right knee hugged in. Twist, right arm opening out, right knee crossing the body, twisting to the left. You should be really softening here. On your next inhale, back up, hug your right knee. Bring the left knee up to good side to side rock. Now, technically, you've already done plenty of inverting. Bridge is an inversion. If you attempted a full back bend, upward facing bow, Urdhva Dhanurasana, that's also an inversion, but it's a lot of back bending. So if your body is okay with doing plow, halasana, I'd love for us to end with that as our final inversion, which is with your legs up and overhead, like your toes are trying to touch the floor. If that doesn't work for you, maybe just keep the knees hugged in and rock side to side. No need to do any additional bridge poses. So if you feel like you can, let's just get the legs up and overhead. Take a few breaths. Let the back round. Even if your legs are not touching the floor, if you'll keep the knees straight and keep your hands on your hips if the feet are not on the floor, the gravity will eventually get you there. One more breath here. And then you can just slowly roll down. Hug the knees in, grab the outside edges of the feet. Take some time to just wiggle around in a happy baby. Do whatever you need to do to get your body really ready to surrender itself in Shavasana. When you feel like you're ready, go ahead and bring your feet to the mat and let the knees drop open with the soles of the feet together. We're going to do 3 of those pelvic tilts in time to our breathing to help finish lengthening low back muscles, which worked very hard this morning. So take a deep breath in and flatten the low back by tilting the pelvis. And then exhale and release. Again, inhale, press your low back into the mat. Exhale, let it all go and relax the body. One last time, inhale, flatten the back. And then as you exhale and release, begin to extend your legs, separate your feet, move or wiggle or flop or do whatever you need to do to get the spine long and all of your muscles relaxed and your body into position for Shavasana. So particularly for today's practice, if you can, please let your arms be extended somewhere below the height of the shoulders, but with your palms facing upward. So we want the palms open to receive. Close your eyes, soften your face, and then take a deep breath in and just exhale with a soft sigh and feel your body settle. As everything is sinking down into your mat, into the floor, you'll notice that your breath gets really soft and gentle. Excuse me. And I want you to feel, truly feel the posture of your body. Your shoulders should be relaxed down the back, but also relaxed open towards the floor. So your chest is open, your heart, rib cage is open, your belly is open, your palms are open, your throat is open. So not only does this make us somewhat vulnerable, but it also makes us available to anything coming at us that we want to receive. So the heart can be open to love. The throat can be open to expression. The palms are open, signaling your receptive energy, that you are open to receive all of the myriad blessings showered upon you continually. You just have to take them. And so in this spirit and energy of openness, I'd like you to spend the next few minutes just accepting and allowing all of the good things coming to you that you deserve. Just notice how it feels to accept and allow all of these good things and even welcome them, knowing that you are worthy and deserving. The system automatically muted me after it kicked me out. My apologies. So if you are still in Shavasana, move your fingers and toes and take your deep breath in, extending fingers and toes. And then go ahead and hug the knees in, roll to the right, and press into sitting. If you were already sitting, thank you. I apologize for the technical glitches. This morning, apparently, the weather had a little something to do with my internet connection. My apologies. The great thing is we still have a couple of minutes, so let's do the breath work. If you didn't hear anything about it, then we'll do it now. And if you were already doing it, great, we'll continue. So we did all of this heart opening, and it's really nice to allow ourselves to remain open and to be the recipient of our own kindness and compassion and unconditional love. So that's what we're going to be doing for our breath work. You're just going to put your left hand at the center of your heart, right hand at the center of your abdomen, and take very slow, deep Uujai breaths, but make them gentle. So they're slow, they're deep, they're full, and you're simply signaling to yourself that you will care for you. So all in and out through the nose. Slowly bring your palms together in front of your heart. Your beautiful heart that you opened today through your practice. Your beautiful heart that has the capacity not only to give unconditional love, but also to receive it. And so it's a reminder for us to stay open in all ways so that we can receive not only the blessings coming at us and the love coming at us, but also our own love and care. So just take a moment in gratitude for that. I'll have some gratitude for my technical glitches because they keep me humble and focused. And we can all have gratitude for this beautiful practice that allows us to keep our hearts open. Take one more huge inhale through the nose. Big exhale through the mouth. Palms to the forehead, reminding us to stay present. Palms to the lips, reminding us to speak our truth. And palms to the heart, reminding us to always practice kindness, compassion, and unconditional love, and to include ourselves. Thank you for joining me this morning. Thank you for bearing with me through the issues. I appreciate you. Namaste.